Good afternoon. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundance Television. We are syndicated. You can find us there on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And we also have a podcast you can actually see right there. Go ahead and click that website right there and listen to us anytime you want to. It's going to be a podcast, also video feed. So we're proud to be part of that network as well. I have a good friend with me right now. His name is Rick Staines. We go back a long ways and had rumors told on us and all kinds of stuff. But we just been buddies, right?
Yeah. The rumors were interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. Well, it gives people, gives your relatives a, rest there. So whatever. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you. I think I know what your opinion is going to be on this. So, President Trump, Donald J. Trump, is to be arrested. Mugshot. I'm not sure about the handcuffs and all that kind of stuff, but I can just see him having fun with this. I can just see him saying, "Where's the handcuffs?" I can see. What do you think the play out is going to be with this?
Well, because first of all, they were saying that he wasn't going to go to New York, that he was going to stay in Mar-a-Lago, and they were going to do it over a Zoom call. They were going to do everything because he, apparently that's what they're saying. He was refusing to do this, and I was thinking back then, I don't see Trump doing that. And Trump's going to go like, okay, well, this is a way of, okay, if you want showboating, it's a way of getting out there, and there's going to be. Because on that day, when he'd already told people that he was going to be arrested on the Tuesday, and 3 people turned up at the courthouse, only 3. But now apparently it's all over Twitter, and the social media, the people in New York about what's going to happen. So there's going to be a huge crowd, of course. And I think he's just going to he's going to milk it. He's going to milk it because he's going to get something out of it. Because that's just the way he is.
Okay, approximately how much would this cost in advertising? If you bought ads to get this much attention, how much do you think it would cost? Because it's all over the place.
It's talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars. This would be kind of like Super Bowl ad figures for us.
I would think.
Yeah, and they say, there's no bad advertising. So it doesn't matter what they say about you. And if you look at half the stuff that goes out there about, even Biden, and it doesn't make any difference to anybody. They don't care. They only cares when it's Trump. They only care when it's Trump. If Trump had done half the things that Biden had done, we would not hear the end of it. It would be on every front page, on every news report, every single day. But they don't. They're just embarrassed by him. So, free advertising for him, Good luck.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah.
But do you think he will win? I know he's a very front runner. Even after all of this stuff, he's still way up in the polls.
Yeah, again, I think because people realize now, looking back on all the things that he did do, right now we're on the brink of war.
Yeah.
We had peace. We had peace in the Middle East. He was out of NATO. Not out of NATO, but not paying NATO any money. He was out of the climate agreement. He'd stopped lots of payments going out that were unnecessary. And you think this administration and the money that they've just given to Zelensky in the Ukraine on the basis that they're at war. And the trouble is with war is that with war, both sides are getting paid by the same people. The money's going to it's coming from the same source, because it always is, because that's how they make their money. They did it in World War I, they did it on World War II, they just do it because they make money. War is money. So
it's a money maker for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So Vietnam War, Lyndon B. Johnson, his wife, Lady Bird, her company was actually in the cleanup.
Well, you think about, Lyndon B. Johnson is a good subject matter because, he's obviously in the Kennedy assassination. He was because he didn't want Kennedy didn't want to go to Vietnam. He wanted to pull everybody out, and that was one of the reasons he got killed. It's because of that and other stuff that was going on, that he was trying to stop. And Johnson, as it takes over as a president, and what do? We go to war in Vietnam.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
And then Lady Bird makes a lot of money in the cleanup.
Yes.
So this has been going on through several decades. It's nothing really new, but this is our first of having a president of the United States taken away to jail.
Yeah. Yeah. It's but again, you look at the administration that's in right now, and they don't care. They just don't care what they do, and they're open about it too. They don't care what they do, who they upset, who they fight against, Sorry about the noise in the background. My boss is rather loud. So yeah, I mean, it's a shame that he's going to go to jail, but it is what it is.
Do we need to put this off?
No.
Okay. All right. Wow, so many things happening. Things I didn't think we would be talking about. This is just so.
It's like I say. It's just. I mean, I can tell everybody all the time. It's a strange world we live in. It's a very strange world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from what goes on in power and government to what happens just with people's interaction, how people treat each other is completely different these days. Everything's changed. It's like no one cares. No one's got any interest in you as a person or what you do or what you say. It's all about them. People are very self-centered.
Mm-hmm. Well, and television has a lot to do with this too. Commercials have been developed for decades that say it's all about me. It's the me generation.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, and I remember when I worked at GTE going on training trips, and they would say, it's about me. It's about, and then this thing started about job descriptions. And people would say, that's not in my job description. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I was pretty much raised that you do. I mean, whatever it takes, you're not going to just sit around. I mean.
Well, you also realize today that the cause and effect is many years ago they pushed having a degree was the only way you could get on. Mm-hmm. So the trades all dropped off because people wanted to go to college and university to get a degree, in whatever,
basket weaving, whatever, as long as you have a degree.
Yeah. And so now you have a bunch of people that are out there that will not do anything menial because they think that, well, I've got a degree. I should be doing this. They told me I should be earning this much money, and it's to me, it's always like, it's just really weird because people don't learn. What you put in is what they learn. I mean, so when you're bringing up a child, if you put in bad stuff, they're going to turn up bad. If you give them bad ideas, they're going to continue with those bad ideas. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to teach people. We didn't teach a whole bunch of people anything. They had bad parenting. They had these stupid, oh, you have to have a degree, you have to have this, you have to have this. Your status matters, your status matters, your status matters. And, now, whereas you could take pride in your work a long time ago, it didn't matter what it was. Now, it's beyond me. And now the workforce is so bad, you can't even tell them to do something because they just go like, there's so many jobs out there, they just go like, I'm not working here anymore, walk out and go and get another job.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I used to own a Snelling franchise years and years ago. And back then, this was during the 1980s, this is when there were no jobs and lots of people looking for jobs. So which scenario do you think is worse? The one from the 80s or the ones now where there are jobs everywhere and nobody wants to work?
I think right now, because no one cares. No one cares about what they do. No one wants to work. I mean, even if they do get a job, they don't want to work. They're there just to while away the time and get a paycheck. They don't even understand how it works. You work, you pay taxes. I mean, we take taxes out of people's pay, and they're like blowing up, the accounting, and going like, I could have earned much more money. Well, why is that? Well, because why are you taking out these taxes? Well, because we have to by law. Well, I don't want them taken out. Okay, well, you can't stop.
Sorry.
There are certain things you can do. You can go exempt, but you can only go exempt on federal tax. You can't go exempt on state tax. And to do state tax, you have to go around. I mean, around the bushes. So we're going to take it out unless you tell us otherwise. But at the end of the year, when the taxman comes after you, don't come back to us going like, well, I didn't realize that was going to happen. If you don't pay tax, they're going to want it. It's just the way of the world. You know, in America, for all the love I love America, you know, was the king's ransom that bad? Because we gave it to you and you really got a messed up tax system now. But I don't think Britain's any better, to be honest with you. I mean, tax is tax. No one likes paying it.
So what are other countries saying about us?
Oh.
In the light of what's happening with President Trump?
It's not just about Trump, it's about Biden. And if you think about, you know, Biden's on the world stage, okay, and the fact that we as Americans are seen to have voted him in, you know, and people have always viewed Americans as a little bit weird. You know, there's the whole gun factor. There's the fact that we, you know, debt is acceptable over here. It's okay to have debt. It's okay to have debt for toys and for your RV and for your boat and everything else. And, you know, living that luxury life, but not having the money to really live that luxury life. And then there's just all the quirks and stuff that go on with America. And then so you go abroad and they just think America's nuts. They do. They think we're absolutely nuts.
Well, I mean, you can't, like running a business, we try to keep everything. If we don't have the money in the bank, we're not going to buy it. I mean, I'm beginning to sound more and more like my grandparents who lived during the Depression, and they pounded that in our heads.
Yeah.
We would say, don't go buy a bunch of stuff. You don't need it.
No.
You know, and so and don't try to keep up with other people because they're probably in debt trying to be, you know, the big person in the community as well. So you don't know what somebody else, you don't know what's going on in their lives as far as money.
And I remember it was funny because you just talking about Trump. I mean, I remember 2016, I was back in England and someone asked me, did they think Trump was going to win? And I'm like, yes, Trump's going to win this. And they're like, why do you think that? I said, because he's saying the things that people want to hear. I said, you also have to understand where he's been. He's been on the other side of the fence. He knows their game plan. He knows he's been to Davos, and he's actually told them at Davos he's going to be doing this, and he's going to be doing this. So he's upset the world elites as well, because it's not just American politics he's against. He's against all the people that want the New World Order, you know, Soros, everybody. He's royally just peed him off. So, you know, when he won, I had loads of friends that were just so mad. And I'm like, why are you mad?
Why?
Because they just didn't think. They're all like, well, Hillary was better. I'm like, was she? Was she? I said, the trouble is, I said, you only get a skewed, I said, depending on what you watch, you get a skewed version of what goes on here and what these people have done, said, or what's going on. I said, and you have that one-sided version. I said, unless you're here or looking at the right news channels, then you're not going to have a balanced view. I said, so I don't understand why they're also against Trump. I mean, the guy lost money being a president. Everybody else has made money. I said, and if that doesn't make you mad, I said, then it should do. I said, because no one goes into office and earns a salary of what, like, you know, whatever it is, $500,000 a year, whatever. I said, and comes out of there with 38 million in the bank because it doesn't work. The math don't work. 4 years.
Special interest.
Yeah, someone's paying them from somewhere. So.
Yeah, the salary for President of the United States, I know, was $400,000 a year.
Yeah.
Just a couple of decades ago, I think it was like $200,000 a year. But Trump wasn't even taking the salary.
No,
he was donating
that. Donating away. And, you know, so, you know, he lost money because he was using his money for his own stuff. And then you've got the Clintons walking away with billions of dollars and they're just laundering it through their charity, whatever else. You've got the Bidens with their Chinese deals and all this other money laundering, whatever else goes on. And people don't get mad about it either. People don't get mad. They just go like, oh, well, you know. But I said, well, yeah, but if they said Trump was doing this,
oh, man.
Oh, you'd be losing your marbles.
Absolutely. Yeah. Rick, we have to go into a commercial break. Over half the show has already went by. It goes by very fast. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Donna's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. Okay, we are back. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. Now, you can find us on television two different ways, channel 182 on Charter Communications. You can also find us syndicated on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Just started a podcast. As a matter of fact, you have that from a long time ago.
Still works as well. I bought some new inserts for it.
Wow.
That's
back
my best pen.
They always were. They always were. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out the podcast too, because and on this podcast we can really say it like it is, and it's so liberating. To actually be able to not be, to say what you need to say and not feel cramped down. But we've got to get the word out, Rick.
Well, I think the word's out there. I think it's just being shut down. I mean, you can't have a voice. You can't have a voice from one side. You can have a voice if you were, if your hair was purple and you were a different persuasion, you'd have no problem getting your word out. But because you're like not, I mean, I'm even worse. I'm a white male. I mean, I'm screwed.
Oh, you're scum.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm done.
That's what Phil says all the time. I'm scum of the earth.
Yeah. And I remember when way back I was that because I was a single male. But that doesn't matter anymore. No, you're just white. And again, when you think about all the stuff they ram down our throats about race, and the first thing they do is like, you're a white man, you're bad, and it's like, so you're using the color of my skin, but then
that's racist.
Yeah, but they then said, we can't be racist against a white person because you've never suffered. It's like, there's a guy that I watch on TikTok, and he always has like a group of girls. The girls are dumb as rocks. They are just dumb, and they're coming out with all this stuff, and he's just making a statement. they're going like, well, you can't tell us to do that because you're a man. And he's just trying to give them like the logic behind what he's doing, and they're going like, yeah, no, you're a white male, so you can't tell us what to do.
Well, what if you're a white male and you decide you want to be a woman tomorrow? Then you decide you want to compete in women's sports. Are they okay with that? All of the women livers who are out there, please send me a message. I just want to know, okay? I'm not being smart. I just want to know. My email address is donna@icradio.media. I want to know your thoughts about this, okay? So you've taken your daughter and you spent a lot of money. She's in really just ripped out good shape, and she's competing in sports. You've paid a lot for her little cute outfits and all this kind of stuff. But then Henry, who lives just right down the street from you, decides he wants to be a girl. And so he gets all the makeup and he wears the little outfits and all this kind of stuff and really looks like a girl, but he competes with your daughter and he wins. He's gonna win.
It's messed up. I mean, it's so messed up right now. It's not.
Aren't you upset about that though?
Yeah. I mean, one, if you're a woman, you should be really upset because they're allowing a man to compete with you and saying, this is a woman. No, it's not a woman. Okay. Biologically, they can't give birth. They don't have ovaries and they don't have a period. They cannot be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
End of story. Their chromosomes, even their chromosomes, when they are dead and you went and did a DNA test on them, they would show that they were a man. Okay? This is all up here. It's all just, and it's being pushed in the school systems. And, instead of like helping these kids, well, if they don't feel like themselves or they don't feel right, rather than pushing them into something that they may not be okay with in a few years, just discuss it with them. Okay, so you don't feel like being a boy today. Why is that? I mean, just discuss it with them, but don't try and change them into or adopting that thought process of, oh, well, I am a woman, and then going through all the gender, all the changes, the physical changes that they're going to have to go through, the mutilation.
That's mutilating their bodies.
Yeah, and then realizing that, in 10, 15 years' time or even less, that, well, that's not how I feel anymore. But now I have a mutilated body, and you can never recover from that mentally. I mean, mentally, you're going to be scarred. Physically, you're going to be scarred.
And Rick, before somebody starts, I love everybody. I don't care what your thoughts are. You can do whatever you want in your privacy. It's none of my business. I really don't care.
And I agree.
But let me tell you something. You remember the store I used to own? There was a guy who came in, tall, about 6 foot something, 6'2" or something like that. And he would come into the store and say he was looking for makeup for his wife. And I said, well, because I was a makeup artist and, and all this kind of stuff. And I used to love to do that. It's art. I mean, it's all an art form. So anyway, he said that he wanted makeup for his wife. And I said, well, what's her skin tone? And I said, because that's really hard for me to pick out colors if I've not met her.
Right.
I got to know if she wears warm colors, cool colors, does she like darker colors? Because everybody has their own preference. And he said, her skin color looks like mine. Well, then I'm suspicious. I was looking at him like, he thinks I'm an idiot. But anyway, I said, okay. And then, into the store, we carried shoes and stuff like that. And so he said that he would like to buy her some shoes. And I said, okay, what size? 12.
Yeah, we have, so because obviously we're a company, I have to watch what I say, but we have a couple here, and I have no problem if that's what you want to do, then that's
whatever.
Fine. Yeah,
and I still love you.
Yes.
Okay, I'm a Christian, so I still love you.
But be respectful of other humans and don't jam this stuff down people's throats. Okay, simple as
that's the same. All I say.
Yep, it's the same with religion. It's the same with your, what you watch on TV, what sexual preference. Okay, that's fine. I'll just take you as you are.
Whatever.
But it's really funny because one of the guys was actually it was helping them out, and this guy looks like a linebacker. He's got a purple wig on, and I'm like, hello, my name's Madge, all right? Because that's what it looked like. And he's like, yeah, can you just check this cable under my desk? And so this poor guy's gone under the desk. I said, did you check it out while you were down? He's like, no. I said, because we have to have a laugh about it. I mean, because we can't do anything about it. I mean, they're here, they're working, and as long as they're productively working, I don't have a problem with it, and I don't have a problem with anybody. I mean, I really don't. When people, I've got a friend who's gay. I mean, he works for us, and when there was the rumors, I mean, he came and told me. He said, it's true. I said, you didn't think I know that? He goes, you did? I said,
you already knew, right?
I said, yeah. I said, it was rife amongst people when we were out on that one job. And he's like, oh, really? I was like, yeah. You can't really hide it, dude. I said, when it's words you use as well. Because people go like, are you married? Well, no, I'm with a partner. Number one.
Well, I mean, giveaway there.
Do you have any kids? Well, I have nieces and nephews, but they're like my kids. So, and my partner and I take them, and it's like, okay, dude, you're gay, right? And that's fine. Come out and say it. We don't care. And when he did, no one really cared, because everybody knew anyway, because all the telltale signs were there. But no one said anything. No one said anything since then. I mean, I make fun of him all the time, because he has to have his Botox injections, and then also has to have his test.
Tell him to eat Jell-O. One of my girlfriends actually had that done, and I said, I want to watch you eat Jell-O. Can I watch you eat Jell-O? Well, she got mad at me. She's still not speaking to me.
We do a meeting every 2 weeks where they have to, everybody at certain levels in the company's there, and he never goes on camera. And I said to him, why don't you turn your camera on? He goes, well, do you think I should? I said, yeah. I said, well, because I said, want to see you. I said, it's either going to be you with the Botox shots, which means your face is going to look like a freshly baby's bum, because it's going to be like really tight. I said, or it's going to be flushed and red because you just had your testosterone shot and you want to punch somebody, because that's when he has his testosterone shot. It comes in and he's just angry, at least for a couple of days, and then he calms down. I said, then you have this nice guy in the middle bit. I said, but then it all goes this cycle all the time. But again, I take him for what he is. He's a good friend and a good laugh, but I hammer him all the time about that, because I can, and that's what friends do. But
I mean, and that's what it's all about. Believe me, you've hammered me a lot in my lifetime.
Never.
I mean,
about what?
Kidding me?
About what? Oh, I did one video. Come on, 2 videos.
Started on that, but the whole point is fine, whatever, okay. But don't jam it in our children's heads. I don't want you dressing up like a woman. If you're a man, dressing up like a woman, reading to my grandkid if I ever have one. I just don't want that.
Well, they've also, if you look at what they've done to the family unit now, so they've de-emasculated men. I mean, they've emasculated men. I mean, they've just literally taken out the, saying that, being a male is toxic, toxic masculinity. So the father figure is now down to nothing. And now they've also said, well, women, and you've got, they're referring to you as a birther, and you're not even a woman now. You're just somebody who gives birth. You've been dehumanized. So what that's done is it's taken the 2 links of the family, the mother and the father, and dehumanized them completely, just so they can get at the kids. Because that's where they can do the real damage, is because for generations going forward, if you get them early enough, you can actually like reprogramming, because kids take in what's going on around them. And it's
the cool thing to do. I mean, it's really the cool thing. So, well, I'm old fashioned. You can open the door for me. I'm good with that. I really am. I'm not a women's liber. But anyway, let's call it a day. Man, that was a fast 30 minutes. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio. You can find us on the podcast down below. And Rick, thank you so much for being on the show with me today. I appreciate it.
Always. Thank you.
And you take care. I look forward to seeing you on the next show.
You too. Thank you.
afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of the Afternoon Drive Home and The Edge on IC Radio. We are your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. You know something, Jack? That's in North Alabama, so folks can see us there. And we are
Awesome.
also syndicated on television, channel 182, along with Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And take a look at that little link right down there. It's a podcast. So
Awesome.
you'll also be able to find us on there. Jack, you're going to be all over the Kingdom Come now.
I'm telling you, on the World Wide Web, you got to love technology. Helps get the word out.
Absolutely. Jack is with the Bible Tones. It's so good to have you back on the show again today.
Hey, thanks for having me. Got a lot of good things coming up. You know, you kind of caught me, Donna. A lot of people don't get to see the glorious side of having a Southern Gospel Quartet. Today's Monday, and I just backed the bus in from the weekend. We had a great weekend up in Arkansas and North Mississippi, and you know, things just have to be done between the bank and the post office, and I had some other meetings today that was in another part of the state, so I just kind of coordinated my travel and just now getting home. But it was a great weekend, and if you do what we do, you got to put in the hours and the dedication to make it all work. And a lot of people just don't see that side of it. They just see the stage and the lights and the songs and think you just snap your fingers and make it happen. But it
You
takes
mean
a
you don't
lot.
just jump on the stage and sing? That's all there is to it?
No, not quite. Be nice if it was, but you know, when I don't care who you are, if you go see one of those groups and support them, because I personally know what it takes to be a ministry. But that's what you're called to do, and you answer that call. And I've told a lot of people this, Donna, after 2020, I'll never complain about being busy. I will just be stating a fact.
That is so
That we
true.
missed it.
Oh, man. You know, I think we had to kind of go through that, you know, and especially in the ministries. What we do here is a ministry as well. And I think sometimes we had to kind of go through a few little things, especially me, because it takes like a roof to fall in on me before I get it
Right.
sometimes.
You know, I think my friend Gerald Crabb really summed it up as well as anyone in a song. He sent a song out during that time. It's called Come to Jesus Meeting. And I know my mama and daddy told me that we're going to have a Come to Jesus meeting when I wasn't doing right, when I was growing up. And when I heard that song, the first thing I did, I picked up the phone and called Gerald and said, you just hit what I think is going on in this country right now on the head with your song. And he told me something, Donna, I don't think I'll ever forget. You know, when you talk about Gerald Crabb, you think about songs like Through the Fire and just so many great songs he has written. But he told me that Come to Jesus Meeting was the only song in his life that he's ever written in 15 minutes.
Wow.
He said the Lord was just dealing with him. He was packing to go do a revival, I think in Texas, and he was putting stuff in his suitcase, and it's just like the Lord would not leave him alone till he had to quit and go pick up a pen and paper and stop what he was doing. And 15 minutes later, he has that song. And it's an attention getter. If you go back and listen to the song, it tells you, you know, you need to oil the hinges on your prayer closet door, get down on your knees and talk to the Lord. And he referenced a lot of things going on in the world that would be acceptable. And I just think it was a huge wake-up call. I know it was for me and a lot of other people. So we're glad to be back on the road traveling again.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are too. You know, you're on, you have a lot of followers at our station.
Hey, we creeped up in the top 10. Thank you so much for that with our
I'm not a bit
home.
surprised.
That's great. Thank you.
I'm not shocked. I'll just have to tell you that. Do you know something? Our listeners are bossy, and they tell us what to do. And they do, because I don't know what I'm doing half the time anyway. And so, anyway, on every Friday, and you need to, you know, make sure you go to the website. That's icradio.media, inchristradio.media, and you can download the free app. And what happens, what Jack's talking about and what I'm talking about, is you can actually go in and you can suggest songs. And it is not, I've had a few listeners say, well, Donna, we don't want to put any more work on you. That is really, you're doing our work for us. All you've got to do is just pick a song. And so the top 50. And so Jack is your group, the Bible Tones, is constantly in that top 50.
We appreciate you getting our music out there and giving us a platform. It really, really helps.
So your Southern gospel, let's talk about what is Southern gospel anyway?
Well, we're a little different than you might say a lot of the groups nowadays. We have a rich history in this music. Our group started in 1957 by a couple actually moved down from Sand Mountain, Alabama to Mississippi.
Where I'm at right now.
Yeah, right up here in your neck of the woods. Ward was actually part of the Sand Mountain Quartet way back then and sung bass for them. And I think Kobe Lister for a time played piano for them. So Ward and Irene moved to Lumberton, Mississippi, which is about 45 minutes from where I live. And Ward became mayor of Lumberton, opened up a furniture factory there, and started the Bible Tone. And, I tell people every night, we're just blessed to be carrying on that tradition. In 66 years, it was our turn to pick up that baton and keep getting our message and our music out there. So with that being said, when you see the Bible Tones, it'll be kind of like when you see the old Southern gospel singing Jubilee back in the 60s, 70s with my dear friend who I miss and mentor, Les Beasley, and those Florida boys would introduce that every Sunday morning before you go to church. We still dress alike like they did back then. We have matching suits, matching ties, and we sing four-part harmony, old-style quartet singing, and that's what we was raised up on and what the Bible Tones have always done, and we're planning on keeping that tradition alive.
That's pretty cool. So what part do you sing?
I sing baritone, and they just really, I'm sitting in the bus right now, just parked it, like I said earlier, getting off the road, but I think they keep me around. I just took the trash out. I drive. They let me sing a little bit, but mainly it's my janitorial skills, I think.
So who all's in the group?
Our tenor singer is Danny Jackson, and I tell you what, Danny and I came back together in 2015 when Howard Rutland, who we just had his funeral here probably about a month ago now, passed away. And Howard had the group for 47 years. And I traveled with Howard in the 80s, and then Danny came back in the 90s after I left. So he and I have a history with the group. It's kind of our second go-round. And when Howard called in 2015 and said, if some of you guys don't come back, I'm going to shut it down. And we did not want that to happen. I bought the group from Howard, and Danny's been with me every step of the way since 2015. I love him like a brother. He is a great, he's like me. He's been around it for years. Great source of knowledge. When you want that, hey, what about this? Hey, let's talk about us doing that. He's right there. His advice is spot on. And as far as a tenor singer, he is phenomenal. If you remember your other Alabama neighbor, my friend Jeff Steele, who I used to work with at a radio station in Brandon, Mississippi when I was in college, WRKN RJH in Jackson. Jeff was a DJ there. He and I worked together, been friends for years. When Jeff had probably his best song, We Want America Back, that stayed number one for so long. Danny was singing tenor with him then. He's on that song. So Danny has a rich history in it, and glad to have him a part of the Bible Tones today. My lead singer is Jamie May. Jamie's been with the group now a little over 4 years. This is his first quartet to ever sing with. And I tell you what, he is also a joy to travel with. Jamie, when he came on board, kind of soaked everything up like a sponge from never traveling with a group before. And he has learned things. He has worked very hard. Even in this last project, Donna, he wrote a song that we recorded. Never written songs much, but he dives. He's one of those that just dives in 110% on everything he does. Great singer, and just proud to have him a group as well. And then singing the bass part started with us actually in 2023 in January when we flipped the calendar up. I needed a bass singer and looked around and found one up at the Mississippi Delta in Louisville, Mississippi, Mr. Charlie Lucas. And Charlie's been doing some solo work around. I always wanted to sing bass for a quartet, and we brought Charlie on board, and he's just been a joy to have on board. He is, when you sing with a group that's been together as long as we have, there's been a lot of songs, and he's had to learn a lot of them, and he's worked just as hard as well, and that's the Bible Tones.
Well, we love your music. What song are you guys most known for throughout the years?
I think it's what I said earlier, just just straight old time quartet singing. We like to do some old songs that people love. Always looking for the new songs, going back and re-recorded some of the old ones. And like I said, we've had probably over 80 members come through the Bible Tones the last time we counted it up through the years, and had a lot of great songwriters come through, and always go back and get original music and keep everything kind of like we've done. And I'm a little old school, Donna. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I kind of like what I cut my teeth on. Is I'm a quartet guy, and glad to be carrying that banner forward in our music today.
You mentioned Jubilee, and you remember Vestal Goodman. She's from this neck of the woods up here. As a matter of fact, Highway 75 is named after her.
Yeah, Les was so smart, and a lot of people don't know this. He actually scored the genius level on IQ test, and he was just always looking for opportunities to get our message out there, and then the Gospel Singing Jubilee just did that. I tell these young people today, it's 827 channels on your television or satellite. Now the web just blows that away. But back when Les got the Jubilee on the air, there was 3 channels, sometimes 4, and one of them was fuzzy. So that's just how many people it reached every Sunday morning. And I still hear people say, we've been on the Gospel Singing Jubilee back then. I tell people all the time, it's hard to find a venue the Bible Tones hadn't sung on at some point of time. We're going back, another one, National Quartet Convention this year, Pigeon Forge. We hadn't been on convention in a long time, but scheduled everything worked this year, and excited about being back up there. It's a week-long event. It's just a big family homecoming. All the groups are there under one roof. We'll sing on Tuesday night this year at NQC, and it's just great to be back a part of that. We do the Memphis Quartet Show in Memphis, all Southern Gospel male quartets. I tell people all the time when I talk about it at concert, now, if you don't like male quartet singing, don't come, because that's all it's going to be there. And it starts on a Wednesday and runs through Saturday. It's the last week of June this year, and we love Memphis. And we've got this event in Laurel that we'll talk about in a minute coming up, 3-day event, Silver Dollar City. We're back there again this year. We're just blessed, as I said earlier, Donna, to be busy.
Absolutely. Something, you were talking about the 2 TV channels back in the day.
Yeah.
You're looking at the remote control.
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
so my dad would say, go out there and turn the antenna. We're getting a fuzzy thing going on.
Whoa, right there, stop.
I know. Stop it. We're going to miss Bonanza. Stop it. We're going to have to go into a commercial break. Can you believe how time flies?
It flies when you're having fun.
An interview. It sure does. So we're going into a commercial break. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes. Everybody hang tight. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park, and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere MyPillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have MyPillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing MyPillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
Okay, we are back. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio. That's in Christ Radio. We are your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182, on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And we also have a podcast. And by the way, it's a podcast and video. So you're going to be able to see this guy right here. We're going to have you up there in just a few minutes, actually. Well, probably give me 24 hours. This will be my first time uploading it, because I promise you it's not going to go as they say. I promise that.
Never
right
does.
You'll be able to find him on there, and then he gets. I guess you guys can put it on your Facebook page or whatever as well. So it's yours to share. Awesome. It's a gift. It's a gift to you guys. Absolutely. Now you're traveling a lot right now. We have a lot of upheaval going on in the country right now. People are confused. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to think. They don't know what. What are people saying out in the real world? Are they worried? Are they concerned, or what?
I don't see it. I see people coming to church again that's loving to have a minister to in song, and they relate to what we sing, and we want to tell them that there is hope in Jesus Christ, and we do that every time we step on the stage. And they don't, Donna, when we're up there singing, that's the last thing on their mind, because you can see it in their faces. And people are traveling again. Our numbers at our concerts and these bigger events are coming back to where they used to be. People are ready for it. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about today, one that's coming up next week in my neck of the woods. It's time for our second annual Southeastern Gospel Fest, and we have a good one lined up for you.
That sounds fun. Now, where's this going to be at?
Well, that's another interesting thing that I think has helped the numbers of this event. It's in Laurel, Mississippi. And if you watch the HGTV show Hometown.
I love Hometown. Ben
and Aaron, they're my neighbors and just great people, great ambassadors for our town. You know, the people that they brought to see the houses and people have just moved here. It would just blow your mind. And it's great for our town. And I made them, I won't say a mistake, but I did something at the first one we had last year down in Bradenton, Florida at Bill Bailey's church. We were singing Bill's, and I was up there talking about my CDs and my events. And normally I wouldn't announce a singing that's 11 hours away. But, when you get there and you just keep, out of repetition, talk about things, I mentioned it. And after the singing, I'll never forget it. Lady came back to the table and picked up a flyer and held it up there like that next to her face and said, "You see me?" Said, "If I'm not in the hospital or in the funeral home, I'll be at that singing." Said, "I watch that show every week. I want to come see the town, and if I can hear 3 nights of gospel music like that, I will be there." So she came, and actually we had 7 states represented at the first one last year. One far away is Alaska. They've already booked back for this year.
I don't doubt it. People are tired of the fake stuff. People want real.
Right.
And that couple, I mean, they are just real.
They are. And what you see on television is what you get. Ben's one of the nicest guys you ever meet, has a real, real heart for our town. He actually ran for city council and got beat before the show. And him and Aaron both are just wanting to revitalize downtown, and they have done that with the show. But even before the show, that was their heart. That's what they were trying to do. And it's all real. What you see is what you get. And honored that they're my neighbors and what they're doing for our little area. It's kind of like a game. When Vonda and I go downtown for something, I'm a tag guy. I look at the tags, when I'm passing them or in a parking lot, in the out-of-state tags, blow you away. How many
You're seeing a lot of them right now.
A lot of them.
I know back in the day we were known in Boaz, which is right up the road from us, as the outlets. The outlets went before it was cool.
Yeah.
So we had the outlets, and so we were teenagers growing up, and we would actually count the out-of-state tags coming through there as well. But people are looking for something. They're tired of fake.
Yeah.
It's the Kardashians and all that kind of stuff. Nobody wants that. Only a select few, and they seem to be ruling some of the class. But us real people want to be out there and see real people and real quartets and real singers like you guys.
Well, that's what you're going to get when you come to Southeastern Gospel Fest. This came about, like I said, we had our first one last year. So the year prior, we have a Baptist college called Southeastern Baptist College here in Laurel, and they wanted to do a fundraiser. And the dean came, called Vonda and I, and said, "Did y'all come out here for a meeting?" And he said, "Well, we want to have something here that you'd have to drive to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, to see. And is that possible?" I said, "Absolutely it is." So we went to work on it, and we got here again this year, got a great lineup. Before I tell you about the lineup, though, let me mention Jan Walker, the dean that made that call. She and I were actually texting the morning I was getting on the boat to go on the Sing It at Sea cruise back in January, and we were finalizing. We're going to be a 3rd annual Gospel Fest next year. She and I were finalizing all the groups that we were going to have for next year, because I was going to be on the boat with most of them, and I know I was going to be asked. It wasn't final yet, so she and I text. I went back and looked. It was 9:06 in the morning, and then I found out later that evening at 10:30 in the morning she had a massive stroke, and she's still in the hospital. Just keep Jan in your prayers. This was all her vision, and it really surpassed anything. The first year we had about 400 the first night, and to start an event like that, it's just been great. And a lot of people, the college has put a lot of hard work in it. So just pray for Jan and pray for our event, and we're gonna keep it going. Like I said, we've already booked next year, but this year, and it's again April 13th, 14th, and 15th at the First Baptist Church of Laurel. Now that's Vonda and I's home church. Beautiful venue. Just right in the heart of downtown, where you see a lot of the shots on the TV show. That's where our church is located. And, for Vonda and I, it's a joy to all these groups that we're bringing in that are friends that we work with all across the country throughout the year, to bring them to our town. I was talking to Rick Francis today. He was singing News. Rick and I have been buddies 30-something years. Well, we're a bunch of us meeting next Thursday before we go set up and go eat at Charlie's Catfish in Ellisville, Mississippi. I love Charlie's, and everybody, when you do what we do, and you go out on the road, and you can ask any artist this that you'll interview, Donna, anything we can do to get away from chain restaurants just for something different, we do.
The same way.
And then when you got somebody like me, or if I was singing in another quartet's backyard. Hey, where can we go eat? So we'll go. This Charlie's Catfish Lookout next Thursday. You're gonna have a bunch of gospel artists in there eating some great catfish. But just things and having them welcome into our hometown it's great. So Thursday night we're gonna have, which Singing News will be there, by the way, speaking of Rick Francis, and Singing News Television is coming. So if you can't make it to Laurel, you can download Singing News TV and apply for that if you hadn't yet, and watch the whole Southeastern Gospel Fest in your chair. So we got Singing News coming. So Thursday night, we're going to kick it off with the Dixie Echoes. Speaking of the Gospel Singing Jubilee, they were a mainstay on there for years. The Guardians, and we may even let Pat Barker come. That's always up in there with Pat. And then Mark Trammell Quartet, another Alabama neighbor of yours, and Greater Vision from Morristown, Tennessee. So that's how we're kind of kicking it off. And my favorite son-in-law, Josh Franks, which is my only son-in-law, but I try not to do
He's got to be your favorite.
help him out. But he's going to MC all 3 nights, or I told him I wouldn't get him a Christmas present. But he's assured me that he's not going to let those guys get out without doing a second half quartet that night. And they don't do a lot of that anymore. But I grew up with the Cathedrals. They were one of my favorite groups, and always when I was with the Bible Tones before in the 80s, got to work with them a lot. They were just the cream of the crop mentors of mine, and love their music. And to see those guys in the second half quartet do some of those old Cathedral songs, that's just right up my alley. So definitely looking forward to that. And that's just a kickoff night. And then Friday night, Donna, it just kind of worked out to be family night. With Josh and Ashley Franks, Jeff and Sherry Easter, Karen Peck and You River, and the Hoppers. So if you like female voices in gospel music, they're all right there under one roof with Kim and Karen and Ashley and Sherry. I mean, that's cream of the crop anywhere you go. And then Saturday night, you're going to end it up with just a bunch of old ugly men with Michael Combs, the Bible Tones tribute, and those Inspiration Youngins are there running around that night too. So we're super excited about Southeastern Gospel Fest. And go to eventbrite.com, ticket info, go to thebibletones.com. You can get up with me if you have any questions. But it's just going to be a great 3 days, and we're excited about hosting it once again this year.
That sounds like a whole bunch of fun. About a minute, and we're going to have to go. Can you believe how time flies?
I know it.
Goodness, I can't believe this. So now, is there something on Facebook? People could probably just Google it on Facebook.
They can, or go to the Bible Tones page. That's the best thing. Southeastern Baptist College has it on their page. But thebibletones.com or eventbrite.com, you can get your tickets there, or there's a poster on my homepage on thebibletones.com. Got phone numbers in there. Just come on. We got plenty of tickets left, and we can sit like 600 or 700 in my church. It's going to be a great time. Just come on out, enjoy the scenery, and plus there is a festival going on that weekend too, in conjunction with the Laurel Main Street. They're having a big crawfish festival boil that Saturday. All the shops have their clothes and all outside. Big sales. Restaurants are opened up. It's just a great time to be in Laurel, Mississippi.
Sounds like it. Hopefully the weather's going to be absolutely awesome.
We're going to keep our fingers crossed.
Absolutely.
But it
Jack,
won't be raining in First Baptist, but there'll be some singing.
There you go. Jack, thank you so much for being on the show. Tell Vonda I said hello.
I'll do it. Thanks for having me, Donna.
And you guys take care.
Will do. Bye-bye.
And thank you for watching The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. Abundant Television, you can also find us right down there. You can find that podcast. Again, thank you, Jack, for being on the show. It's good to be with you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundant Television. We are syndicated worldwide, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And starting tomorrow, and I don't think Silt knew this, but Silt will be the very first guest on a new network. It's called Net News Video Broadcast, and you'll find it. I'll send links all over the place, and you'll just search for Donna's Edge, and you'll find it this way. I had to have you to be the first guest on this new network.
Bless your heart. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to tell you, we've all been thinking about you. You know that.
Yes.
And so with Diamond's passing, and I want to say, you're an angel, and she's an angel right now in heaven.
Yes, literally, yes. And I mean truly an angel, because I know since she's passed, there's so much stuff that's been coming out. There's a lot of stuff that, she really prayed to happen. And a lot of stuff is being exposed and disclosed to the world. So, what can I say? I'm here, and I'm carrying the torch to help save America.
I know you are. And we both love America. We have those things in common. And and the things you and I talk about, and especially through your walk, through what your journey and what you're doing, it's not necessarily a Democrat-Republican thing, but I'm upset with some Republicans too.
I'm trying to tell you, I've been upset with them. When we first started back in 2015, Diamond and I did not know it was like this. But especially after 2020, it's like smacking dead in your face. Mm-hmm. It's like you get to see exactly who the deep state snakes really truly are, and who's for the people and who's actually against the people. So they've shown all of their whole cards. They showed their true hands, and America and Americans cannot be fooled any longer.
That's true. And there are a lot of smart folks out there, especially business owners. They're afraid to take that step. They're afraid they'll lose business. And you and I have been kicked off of Facebook, YouTube, all those things. And I wear it was a badge of honor. I'm telling you, I'm glad that my kids, my family, they know I can stand up for them. And I know you do as well.
Most definitely. The deal is, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And it doesn't matter if you lose your stuff, because if you don't do nothing, you're going to lose your stuff regardless. So why not just stand up, speak out, speak your truth? We're still in the United States of America. It is still freedom of speech here. I don't care how they slice it or dice it. We still got our First Amendment rights to speak our free speech here. And that's what Silk plans to do. I am not stopping from nobody. I am calling it all out the way I see it, the way I feel it. And I'm giving my opinions about it. I don't care who say what. That's just how it's going to be. So people, all Americans, it's time to rise up against this demonic, evil spirit that have creeped or basically just walked into our country and have stolen our wealth. They're stealing our well-being. They're stealing our livelihoods from us. So people, you better wake up, because look, what do you do if somebody break into your house and steal your stuff? Mm-hmm. Are you just going to sit back in the corner like a puppy with his tail tucked between his legs? Or are you going to fight them off? Okay. And I'm not talking about going out here being fools. I'm not talking about going out here like the left typically do and destroy your community and burn down your community. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is letting your voice be heard, standing for what's right. If not, Lord, we're going to have all of these demons all over our heads, and we're not going to have enough hands to knock them off. So it's time for all of us to just really stand up and be true patriots of America.
We're stepping all over them. I wanted you to talk with the folks. We have another new network coming up, and we're talking about, you're the first guest. Yeah. And I'm excited about that. But I would like for you to talk with folks about your walk with President Trump. Now, Diamond and Silk, total patriots, and Trump loves you guys.
Oh my God. And we absolutely love President Trump. My sister was a diehard patriot for this country, and she loved President Trump. She loved President Trump, and I love President Trump because he was about America first. He's about putting the people first. He didn't care what opposition came up against him. he put America first. A lot of people love to talk about, oh, he's rough around the edges. But like I continue to say, we need those rough edges to cut through all of the mess that's going up there on Capitol Hill, in that White House, in our country. We need somebody that's not scared to go toe to toe against the status quo. So I absolutely, truly love my president, the true president, the real president, President Donald J. Trump. And now what I'm finding out is that there are so many more people that's getting on board. You know, the Democrats, the left, the deep state snakes, the swamp, they thought and think that they're doing something really, really tremendous to President Trump. But what they're actually doing is making him more noticeable, to the fact that people are going home. They're doing their own homework on President Trump to see, well, what is he really truly about? And they're finding out a lot of things that the media hid, a lot of things that people try to censor us from. People are finding out that all of the stuff, that the lies that they try to bestow upon America are truly just lies. They're realizing that we've been lied to. You know, Biden locked us up. Trump freed us and gave us jobs. You know, they're finding out a whole lot more different things about President Trump. So I say thank you, Democrats, even though I don't like their style and the way that they are interfering in an election, because they know they can't beat Trump, so they're going to try to take and silence Trump. But even though they're doing that, it's causing people to wake up, especially within the Black community, I must add. They're starting to make, a lot of Black people is starting to make videos now calling out the Democrat, getting off that Democrat plantation, and they realize who's the real enemy is and who the real racists are. That's what they're finding out.
Absolutely. I mean, you just really hit it. And I'm going to tell you something else. I find this really, really, and this is smart on President Trump's mind, what he's doing. You can't pay for this kind of advertising. I'm talking, this is like Super Bowl quality if you had to pay for it.
You know, Trump will always say that, you know, all news is good news. Even bad news is still good news, you know, and it's got his name out there. All you see is Trump. Now you see his plane, Trump. You see his whole entourage, Trump, Trump, Trump. You see somebody that is a man standing up for we, the American people. Trump make Americans feel secure. Okay. But when I look at Biden, I'm like, oh my God, we ain't got a hope. They want us to depend on him, and he's probably wearing the pins. You know, it's like he don't he don't look like we can depend on him. Okay, he can't even depend on himself to walk up a flight of stairs. All right. So, but when we look at Trump, totally different story. And like I said, people are waking up to the foolishness.
Absolutely. What I found interesting is during, I call it a slaughter, and this was at the college. What was the first thing Biden said when he stood up to the podium? This is the first words out of his mouth. He actually talks about his wife, Dr. Jill, and then he also started talking about ice cream.
Ice cream. He started talking about ice cream. And you know, I'm not trying to be no conspiracy theorist, okay? But follow me here, Donna. Usually when pedophiles is trying to groom children, they like to dangle ice cream in front of their face. They like to dangle toys in front of their face, all right, to try to draw them in. That's part of grooming. And when I see this old imbecile always go to ice cream, and I see the videos of him sniffing on children, sniffing on people, and doing inappropriate things, then that lets me know exactly who he is. Then I look at his whole regime, which they call an administration. All of them to me look like super freaks, just to be straight up honest with you. Just look at what they have here. Now, America is based on Judeo-Christian values, all right? They've taken those Judeo-Christian values and threw them out the window and brought in the devil themselves, is what they did. And when I look at these people, they look demonic. I mean, they look demonic, they act demonic, they talk demonic. They are demonic as far as I am concerned, and in my own humble opinion. So I heard that he knew he was supposed to be going out there to address the family and to address what had happened there in Tennessee. But he went out there talking about ice cream. Why? Why? Is he really that doggone demented? I mean, just ask yourself that question. And that's just Silk's way. This is the way I see it when he came out there doing that. And then he was laughing, had this smirk on his face. And then the next thing his whole regime started talking about was gun control. I said that it's time for him to start talking about trans control. That's what it's time for.
Could you step on that?
If you want to ban the guns, let's ban all of this transgenderism, okay? Because how is it that you call yourself a transgender with the same gender? Just think about it, all right? And I think that's the demonic thing that is destroying our country. That's one of the demonic things that's destroying our country. Because a gun ain't going to grow no legs, get up, walk, and go shoot who it wants to shoot. It's going to take somebody mentally ill behind the trigger of that gun in order to pull the trigger. Okay, we need to go after the direct person that chose to do that. See, this is our Second Amendment that they're trying to take away from us. And if they can take our guns out of our hands, then we won't have a way to defend ourselves against this rogue government. See, that's the bottom line. A lot of people don't know. They think they're just supposed to have the gun and go out hunting and shooting down some deers or what have you. No, our Second Amendment is to protect us from the rogue government, especially the one that we have right now, perpetrate themselves as the administration over our country.
Well, I'll tell you what I think is really interesting too is, okay, if you want to be transgender, whatever you want to be, it's none of my business. I can't change you, whatever your deal is. But the thing about it is, and let's say this to all the transgenders out there, I'm a woman, okay? If you'll have a period, and if you will be, I'm saying, if you'll go through it, and they go through the whole thing, not just dressing up and wearing makeup. If you'll do that, and if you'll be, say I was in labor 26 hours with mine. Come on. If you'll just be in labor 1 hour, I'll accept you. I'll say, okay, then you're a woman, but that cannot happen.
I think that what people are doing is conflating the two. There is no such thing as transgender. That's not something that they've made up. But there is a such thing called cross-dressing. Okay. And a lot of people, they can cross-dress, they can be who they want to. But when you inflate the two and try to implement yourself on womanhood, then you got a problem with me as a real natural born woman. When you infiltrate yourself on little children, then you have a problem with me because I had a child. See, men, you can't have babies. You can't have periods. And if they continue to install that ideology in our little bitty kids, you're going to have little boys trying to figure out how they can get a period. And then they're going to end up mutilating themselves.
That's true.
So you can't have it.
This is just opening Pandora's box. That's all this is doing. And it'll come to animals. It'll come to everything else as well. So, it's already halfway through it. So we're going to have to go into a commercial break. So let's do that. We'll be right back in just a minute. Everybody hang tight. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Okay, we are back. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio. That's in Christ Radio. Your source for, and ice cream. Oh, I shouldn't say ice cream. I have a bad thing about ice cream now. Forget what I said about ice cream. We're your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant TV worldwide. You can find us on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. I have with me now a very special guest. Will be the very first guest on NewsNet video broadcast, Donna's Edge, and we're real happy to be with that. I'm flattered that you would be my first guest on this run. So thank you so much, Sil, for coming on with me.
Thank you so much for having me. I am honored to be here.
Well, thank you. We're talking about men dressing up like women. Let me ask you another question. Now, back in the day, I'm a lot older than you are. So back in the day, there was a show called MASH. You remember that? Klinger? Klinger was always trying to get out of the army, so he would dress up like a woman. Do you think they're going to take that series off? Because sometimes they're really kind of, it's like you're being crazy. So you want to get out of the army by cross-dressing.
Well, back then that was a movie, but it looked like they're turning that movie into reality today. Because when I look at our military and how our military took an oath to protect and serve, okay? They're supposed to protect us, not be somewhere painting their nails pink and putting on our girls, all right? But what I see happening in our military, it's going to be hard for me to really be dependent on our military. They have really destroyed our military. Then when it comes down to what I call a bioweapon, they call it the vaccine, but I call it a bioweapon. When it comes down to that, and they're infiltrating that and within the military, a lot of people are sick, they're maimed, and a lot of people are dying. But where's the leaders at? Where are they at? And it seems like to me that this is really deliberately happening. Who infiltrated America? Who truly infiltrated America? And how are we getting over 98% of our life-saving ingredients from China, the very country that said they don't like America? It don't make no sense to silk, and it shouldn't make no sense to you. Something else is going on here, and it's time for us to open our eyes and see exactly.
We better see. This is common horse sense. We call it common horse sense here in Alabama. It's common horse. I mean, and then this is just what's happening. So my husband and I, we bought the farm my grandparents used to live in. You got to come next time you're in Alabama. You got to stop by. We got plenty of room for you to stay. It's 38 acres and just fun. And so we have a garden, and I'm taking a master gardener's class, and I feel like everybody needs to know how to garden. We
show better. I know my husband and I, we was walking the yard the other day, and we put some stakes down so that we can go ahead on and do what we need to do. And I also heard, Donna, that they're trying to implement the mRNA technology within our beef, within our meat, within our food system. So if they don't give you this jab through your arm, they'll give it to it through your food. Is what I'm hearing. And what I can't for the life of me understand is that I thought that the Food Drug Administration, the FDA, is supposed to be over protecting we the people. When you put poison in our food, that's called food poisoning. Why are they being allowed to food poison we the American people? Because at the end of the day, we're not robots, we're not monkeys, we're not rats, we're not lab rats, we're human beings. And some of that stuff do not go well with our human body, with our human nature. But for them to be allowed to even be talking about doing that, it's a disgrace to this country. And the FDA, all of these three-letter organization who appears to cease to want to destroy Americans, it's a doggone disgrace. And we're going to have to continue to talk about it. And as long as I have breath in my beautiful body, I'm going to call every last one of them out. This is what you call food poisoning. Now, what happens when somebody gets sick? What happens? You know, who do we sue when somebody gets sick? Who do the family sue when somebody passes away from all of this bioengineered ingredients that's being added to our food, or that have been added to our food? Because a lot of people don't even know that bioengineered ingredients is already being added to our food, or have already been added to our food.
Well, that's why we raise our own food. I buy meat locally. I don't even go to the grocery store and buy meat. It's a farmer who lives down the road from us.
That's your best bet. That is your best bet. Go to your local farmers to get your meat. If not, what they're trying to infiltrate on us, they are really trying to, I believe that they're playing with God's natural order, with God, natural creation, and God do not like that. Do not like that. So, and for them to even do that, as far as I'm concerned, you are the devil, possessed from the pits of hell, is how I feel about it. And they should not be able to do that. But where's our protection? I look at this, Donna, the fact that the Republicans now have the House, so they say. But what are they doing?
I've been waiting.
A lot of this stuff can be stopped. Come on, all of this mouth BS that they continue to try to feed us. I'm tired of the lip service. All right. We know that something is not right. We have data now that people are dying sudden, just like my beautiful sister just died suddenly. All right. We know that things are happening in our country, but my Republicans, they said that they couldn't do anything because the Democrats had the House. Now that the Republicans have the House, what you gonna do about it? Do you not know that they can recall this clock shop? They can recall this stuff. They can stop the foods from being infiltrated with mRNA.
It's money.
It's about the money. But when you dead and gone on, you're not going to be able to spend it. Let me tell you. So I've been calling out my Republicans, my fellow Republicans. You have the House. What you going to do about it? Now, they keep saying we got all the receipts against Biden. We got all the receipts.
Well, then
where are the indictments?
What are we waiting on?
Where are the indictments? You got the computer, you got the receipts, you got the money trail, you got the bank statements. Where the hell are the indictments?
I want to know that too.
Yeah, but you're going to go after President Donald J. Trump because of some hooker, all right? Because of some doggone hooker, all right? That Trump's lawyer is the one that paid her to go away because of she was exploiting Trump for money. She admitted to it. She admitted that they didn't have no type of affair.
It's in writing with her signature on it, Silk.
That's right. And she has to pay Trump $300,000 for his lawyer fees because of the nefarious lawsuit that she brought against him. All right. So I'm still trying to figure out how Alvin, this DA there in New York, how he's able to take one misdemeanor and chop it up to 34 to 35 indictments or charges to indict President Trump. Now you got people that's dying because of this quote unquote COVID virus. Why aren't they investigating who killing people? Trump ain't killed nobody. There's no victims here, but they want to take and go after Trump and indict him over something he wrote in his ledger. Okay. But you got Hillary Rotten Clinton that took and funneled almost $1 million to create that Russia dossier. All right. She put in her bank ledger or in her ledger on her paperwork for the FEC that it was for her lawyers.
Mhm.
It's her lawyer fees. She put that to cover up a crime.
Mhm.
And all they did was gave her a fine. That's all they did to her. But for Trump, they want to indict him on what? For what? Cause of some hooker,
Mhm.
some tramp who job is to get paid to lay on her back for a check. That's her job.
I don't know what to say about that. Why people would be going along, would be on her side of this whole thing.
I'm trying to tell you, there's a lot of people waking up. There's a lot of people waking up to it. They're not understanding that. See, what a person choose to do with their own money, that ain't none of my business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned about Congress and this hush up slush fund that they got up there at Congress to pay off individuals who accuses congressmen and congresswomen of sexual assault or sexual abuse. They use our American tax dollars to pay these folks off to hush them up. Isn't that election interference?
Well, I'm going to tell
Is
you
it
what,
not?
if you're looking for a politician in either side who is not having affairs and what have you, you're living under a rock if you believe. Do you believe the Democrats are not having affairs? When Obama was president, you remember, I mean, it was a big fiasco. You know, Secret Service was involved in the whole works, but we have just about a minute left in this segment. I'd keep you on all night. But let me ask you a question about this. You know, it's always Trump is not statesman-like. Well, what statesman sitting there watching the country go down the drain? Is that statesman not saying anything? Or like Trump, where he will like speak up and talk about these things? They're afraid of.
Well, when you have a Jim Crow Joe Biden that they say is the president, and you tell me Trump ain't presidential enough, but you want to look up to this imbecile that don't even know his left from his right, okay? And you want to tell me that's presidential?
That's not.
Then the people that agree with that, you got to be crazy.
It's not.
You are complicit with this mess. And let me tell you something. What's being presidential is somebody that's not scared to go against their adversary. It's somebody that's putting America first. One thing that a lot of people don't even realize that Joe Biden did on day one, he took away our energy independency, all right? And he sold it out to foreign countries.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's why the gas prices is up. A lot of people don't even understand that and know that a lot of this stuff that you see happening today is deliberate. So who's really pulling Joe Biden's puppet strings? Who's really behind the curtains pulling his puppet strings? Who? Is it China? Is it Obama? Because it darn sure isn't Biden. He don't even know that he's existing.
He doesn't know he's on planet Earth.
No, he don't even know that.
How can folks find out more information about you and your shows, your podcast?
Well, you know, we still have the show Diamond and Silk Chit Chat Live Monday through Fridays at frankspeech.com. That's Lindell TV. All right, at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard or 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can see us there, or you can go to diamondandsilkstore.com. diamondandsilkstore.com. You can get our books. We got a lot of goodies there at the store. Go right there, diamondandsilkstore.com.
Okay. Silk, we love you, girl.
Oh, I love you so much more, and congratulations to you, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Anytime you want to be on the show, just let me know, okay?
Certainly.
And thank you for watching. You are awesome. My name is Donna, and I am your host of The Edge on IC Radio. Thank you again so much for watching. Thank you, Silk. Good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and we are syndicated on Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. We also have a podcast. I haven't learned it yet, Don, so let's go ahead. Okay, it's netnewsnetwork.net. As a matter of fact, I just wanted to say the owner of this company, I've told the owner about you, Don, so you need your own podcast.
Well, give me one other thing to put on the to-do list, but thank you.
Absolutely. Attorney Don Brown is with me right now, very special friend and my go-to person. You've done so many. Let's talk about your background. You're a speaker, an author, an attorney. What else have you done?
I've been accused of all those things. I'm just a kind of a country lawyer from North Carolina. I grew up working in tobacco. That's about it.
There's a lot more than that. There is
I appreciate it. You know what? My granddaddy Brown said, boy, he said, don't ever blow your own horn. If somebody's going to blow your own horn, let somebody else blow your own horn. So my granddaddy Brown kind of creeps in the back of my mind. So I got to be careful about blowing my own horn. There's not much to blow anyway, but
yeah, there is definitely. Do not let him fool you. There is a lot to talk about. Now you are really in key into politics, and so we have a lot of things happening today. And it's like I feel like the presidency is being handed over to President Trump on a silver platter. That's my thought. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I think that, yes, I think everything they do there's a history with President Trump. Everything they try backfires against him. And of course, he had crept up to nearly 30 points ahead of DeSantis in the polls even before this kangaroo court indictment came down the pike. So, yes, I think that it's going to be like putting his campaign on supercharged steroids. And the good news is the other side can't figure that out. So let them have at it.
What is this? There was an old fairy tale we used to listen to when I was a kid. It was Burr Rabbit. And Burr Rabbit, throw me in that patch. That's what Trump is. He's been doing this for how many years now? Throw me in the briar patch.
Right. Well, they tried it. They laughed at. I'll never forget going back to, there was an interview and they had these leftists on. It might have been on The View. I can't remember. And Ann Coulter was on there. And Ann Coulter, sometimes she's up here, sometimes she's down there, and sometimes you think, oh, where'd that come from? But it was leading up to the 2016 Republican presidential nomination in the very early days, right after Trump had come down the escalators at Trump Tower. And so everybody asked the question, who do you think is going to be the Republican nominee? Somebody said Jeb Bush. Well, I think maybe Ted Cruz, or maybe, Marco Rubio, blah, blah, blah. They turned to Ann Coulter. She said, Donald Trump. And all these liberals started laughing. Laugh. Joy Behar. I can't think of all of them. We could probably dig that up. But he's gotten the last laugh on all of them. I mean, you might argue that the 2020 election was an aberration because they got away with pulling off a lot of shenanigans there. But yes, back to your original question, I think it's going to add a couple of solid rocket boosters to his campaign. And the more they dig at him, in other words, you've got this kangaroo court prosecution about to get underway today in Manhattan with Alvin Bragg, and I've spoken on a couple of interviews about that already, both here and elsewhere. But then you've got down in Atlanta, you've got Fannie Willis trying to cook up something on election interference. There they go again with election interference. And then you've got in Washington this guy named Jack Smith, appointed by Merrick Garland as a special counsel, to look into election interference in January the 6th. To look into January 6th and classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, which is a big joke, because where is the special counsel and where appointed to look into Biden's classified documents in his Corvette held there in Delaware? The guy was not even president. President can take classified materials out. Vice president can't. Presidential Records Act allows for it. Vice president can't. Biden takes Obama's classified records. Where is the special counsel appointed for that? Anyway, the Democrats have two other prosecutors waiting in the wings after this Alvin Bragg fellow, and let them have at it. I mean, there's an old saying that we had in the military, whatever doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. So you better take me out if you're going to. If not, you better watch out. And that's what I think we're going to see happening here.
I think so too. And you can't pay for this much advertising. Look at the good
Well,
that Trump is getting.
Here's the irony. Okay, so CNN, Fox, and all these networks, they would put Trump on leading up to 2016 because he'd drive the ratings up and never thought he would get elected. So now they've been trying to freeze him out. Okay, Fox has turned toward DeSantis. I even watched my buddy Sean the other night. Right after right after Bragg announces this indictment, Sean has one of his town hall shows there in New York, and so they have Trump's newest attorney, I think his name Tapachino, something like that, lead counsel, who is on the show. Then they have a little segment about DeSantis. DeSantis has said that he will not cooperate, not going to extradite him. Well, first off, when DeSantis was first interviewed, he made a crack about I don't know what it looks like to pay a porn star to an underhanded jab at Trump, which hurt him, was totally unnecessary. He didn't make that comment then. But the point is, Fox throwing a bone out there is, here comes DeSantis is going to block the extradition when Trump's going to go up there voluntarily anyway, so it's a red herring. So my point is, these networks helped to create Trump. Even CNN put him on back in 2016. Now they have tried in this election cycle initially to freeze him out, but now you have these kangaroo court political prosecutions, which forces coverage right back on him from CNN, from Fox, and from everywhere else. So it kind of like boomerangs against him. They try to freeze him out. They still wind up having to cover him, which, as you said just a moment ago, is great free advertising. Think how much money you have to pay for all this airtime. And he's getting it and not having to spend a dime. Plus, he did raise $7 million between the time of the announcement of the indictment just a couple of days ago and as of last night. And from what we're hearing, that 25% of those that money raised is from first-time contributors, suggesting that the Trump base is actually expanding beyond what it was as a result of all this.
It is. So I just interviewed someone ago, and she said, something, I really wasn't a MAGA at all. She said, I'm a MAGA now because of all of this. And I said, in what respect? Why? She said, because I'm seeing all the things. She was one of those, I'm at the fence, I don't know which. So she said, because of all the crazy stuff Biden, the whole regime is getting away with. And here they're going back how many years? And this tramp person who is hooking him here, the hooker, I mean, she even admitted on a piece of paper that it wasn't true. But now she's going back at it. Can't she be brought up on some kind of charges because of this?
Well, I want to see the prosecutors brought up on charges. Stormy Daniels is just a gadfly. I did an article that was published in American Thinker about 2 weeks ago. It's a prelude to what we're seeing now, pointing out that under the Article 2 of the Constitution, Trump can. Well, here's what Bragg is trying to do. Bragg is trying to get a felony conviction. Now, does he want Trump behind bars? Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But he wants a felony conviction because about 20 states, including Texas and Florida, have statutes to prohibit anyone with a felony from, appearing on the ballot in those states. Now, it's very clear to me, in this position I've taken publicly, and was interviewed on this the other night, that is unconstitutional with regard to prohibiting the presidential candidate, because Article 2 of the Constitution trumps any state law prohibiting felons on the ballot. But if they get their felony, and I suspect they might, I don't suspect this judge is going to throw this thing out. The judge is a left-wing liberal. I mean, he's got ties with both Obama and Biden. He presided over the Weinstein trial. He presided over the prosecution of the Trump organization. So I suspect they may get their felony conviction. And if they do, then the Democrats are going to go into these states like Texas and Florida, and then they're going to file motions to try to keep him off the ballot. They cannot beat him legitimately at the ballot box. So the only thing to do is either resort to massive chaos, which created opportunities for a tsunami of cheating in 2020, or try to keep him on the off the ballot via what we call lawfare. That is bringing criminal charges, where we all know that if this guy's name was not Donald Trump, nobody would ever be charged under any of these various, stretch of the imagination legal scenarios. So I think that that's their end goal. But as I also have pointed out, there's got to be a way to prosecute these prosecutors. We need legislation. The Congress needs to take this up that if you have a kangaroo court prosecutor bringing a case for political reasons primarily, that ought to be a felony in and of itself. If that law were on the books now, Bragg wouldn't have to worry about it because you've got a Democrat DA. But he would have to worry about what happens when a Republican, I said DA, I meant a Democrat Attorney General, Merrick Garland, but Bragg would have to worry about what happens next time it's a Republican Attorney General. You see, here's the issue. If this guy's name is not Donald Trump, does he get prosecuted? The answer is no. The answer is no. Someone bringing that prosecution, that is Alvin Bragg, should be prosecuted himself, because these political prosecutions are a direct threat to the Constitution of the United States. They're an attack on the First Amendment. They're an attack on freedom of speech. They're an attack on right to petition the government, free dress agreement. They're an attack on Articles 1 and 2. They're designed to control the speech of candidates. They're designed to take the decisions out of the hands of the people. And so these political prosecutions are a direct assault against the Constitution, and they need to be criminalized themselves. And I hope that we start moving in that direction. It won't happen with the Democrats in control of the Senate or Biden in the White House. But we need to start talking about this, and this needs to happen. Enough is enough. Seeing the President of the United States taken into a Manhattan Superior Court, or Supreme Court courtroom, as they call it, and booked and effectively arrested, is a very, very sad day, and it's a dark day. April 4th, 2023, a very dark day in American history. Be different if you had a former president who committed murder or rape or something that's a legitimate crime or felony. These are manufactured charges based upon, apparently, and we still haven't seen the indictment, but apparently on bookkeeping stuff that the Federal Election Commission has looked at and declined to do anything about, that the Democrat United States Attorney declined to do anything about, that the previous Democrat District Attorney, Cyrus Vance Jr., looked at and declined to do anything about. This is selective prosecution. Mr. Bragg is violating his oath to the Constitution. There's no equal justice under the law here, because when someone like Mr. President Trump's being prosecuted only because he's President Trump and no other reason, that is an unequal application of the law, and is a violation of the president's right to equal protection under the law, under the 5th and 14th Amendments, and his rights to due process. And so we need to really take this seriously and to wage war on these kangaroo court prosecutors and find ways to hold them criminally accountable for these foolish actions that they're now taking.
Absolutely. Don, we have to go into a commercial break. Can you believe half is already over? Okay, let's go into a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere My Pillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have MyPillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing MyPillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community
Welcome
College.
back to The Edge. We are your source for news and entertainment and information, by the way. We have attorney Don Brown with us right now. Don, you're held in very high regards. I wanted to ask a question. This is a simple one to me, okay, but apparently outlandish to many folks who are on the left. Okay, so we've opened up Pandora's box. And I'm just telling you, the people I knew who were on the fence are now MAGAs. They are actually saying, I'm a MAGA
Right.
officially. Okay. What does this do? Because it's called the boomerang effect.
Right.
Okay. What you send out comes back to you in 10 forces. That's just the way it is. The Bible teaches that. Proverbs teaches that. Okay. So what's going to happen? I really feel President Trump is going to be back in office.
Right.
What's going to happen to Hillary, the Biden regime, people like this once he's back in the office? Will he not have a little higher power now to make things happen?
Well, we've mentioned the boomerang effect. You've mentioned some of your friends who are now gravitating toward MAGA because of all this. As we mentioned in the earlier broadcast, 25% of the $7 million raised by the Trump campaign in the 2 days since that indictment was announced is from first-time contributors, indicating the expansion of the base. And then there's also a verse in the Bible, maybe Jeremiah, one of the major prophets. You sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. And these Democrats are sowing the wind, and they are going to reap the whirlwind. And so, on your question about Hillary and Biden and the Biden criminal syndicate and taking money from the Chinese, and there's no apparent tax reporting of any of it, and Hillary bleach bidding her email. Nobody knew what bleach bid meant before these emails were taken off. James Comey himself, I remind us, found that approximately 52, as I recall, of the emails that Hillary Clinton had sent or used on her personal email. I mean, like you and I have a Gmail account, like we sent top secret on a Gmail account. She was doing that. 52 she sent on her personal email that were top secret, and nothing was done. And so the folks that you're talking about, like your friend who's now was on the fence and now is ultra MAGA, so to speak, are seeing the irreconcilable and indefensible double standard where these Democrats get off literally with absolute murder. As I mentioned in the earlier broadcast, you have a situation where, they're claiming that President Trump had impermissible documents at Mar-a-Lago, even though the Presidential Records Act, in my view, allowed those to be taken to Mar-a-Lago, and they were locked under a lock and key and had the Secret Service guarding them. On the other hand, you find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of classified documents in Biden's Corvette in Delaware, and Biden took those out, as I said, not when he was president, when he was vice president. There's no Vice Presidential Records Act. There's a Presidential Records Act. Biden takes Obama's classified information out, and what do you hear from the Democrats? What do you hear from Merrick Garland on a possible special counsel? Just ding, 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 not a thing. And people are seeing the double standard. And yes, it will boomerang on them. And the more these Democrats push these kangaroo court prosecutions against President Trump, the stronger he's going to get. They're trying to bring him down. But we say in the military, if you're gonna anything that doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. They better be careful with the fire they're playing with.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that a minute. Okay, so we all know this is all a farce. There's no substance to it whatsoever.
Right.
Shouldn't Hillary be just kind of sweating this out just a little bit? Because in the back of your mind, you had to think ahead before you do things. And a good attorney like you would suggest people you need to think this out, before you go for it. Couldn't it come back to haunt her a little bit? I mean,
well,
can't
listen,
that be a thought in your head?
Well, if you're going to prosecute these presidential candidates, she should have been prosecuted a long time ago. James Comey, in his famous speech, no reasonable prosecutor would bring this. Before he said no reasonable prosecutor would bring it, he found that she had sent, I believe the number was 52, or it might have been 82, but it was between 50 and 80 classified documents, some that had a top secret classification. In the government classification system, there are different levels of classification. There's regular classified, there's eyes only, there's top secret. She was sending top secret. She was violating the National Security Act. She based on what Comey himself found, and none of us are Comey fans, they could prosecute her and bring an indictment right now if they wanted to. So what's going to happen is, if the Democrats are serious about this, the turnaround is going to become a fair play, and there's no statute of limitations on that. So yeah, she should be concerned, but I think they are so deluded in their minds and so convinced the deep state is going to protect Democrats that they think they can do whatever they want. I mean, Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, even Joe Biden himself indicated that when Hunter was applying for a gun permit, he left off information from his federal firearms form about drug use, which is a felony in and of itself. And so, where are the questions about this? Where's the special counsel about this? Where is the prosecution with regard to that particular event? You're not seeing it. So she should be worried. There's more than enough evidence, in my opinion, to bring charges of obstruction of justice against her, of mishandling of classified documents. Even Comey himself said that it happened, even though he said no reasonable prosecutor would bring it. He didn't say that. No, Comey didn't say that she hasn't violated the law. He said that no reasonable prosecutor would bring this case, and note the distinction. So, and theoretically, she should have every reason to be worried, but I still think they're living under this deluded belief and notion that the deep state will protect them at all costs.
Well, they're all narcissists, and that's exactly how a narcissist thinks. They think they can do anything. It's all about them. So they think they can do anything and get by with it. So I wanted to ask you another question. And this is based on, we got in smoking gun. We've been hearing this. We've heard it so much, Don. It's just like, I'm almost like, every time I hear something, I'm just like, okay, next. What's next? Okay, so let's think about this. Okay, so you have things brought up against you.
Right.
What does this say to the everyday human being? I'm out there, and I'm watching this whole charade go on with President Trump. What does this say to the everyday person like me? I mean, am I feeling I'm right?
It clearly says, number one, that there's a huge double standard in the application of justice in this country. That liberal Democrats, for the most part, and there have been a couple of exceptions, Blagojevich and John Edwards, but other than those, and there were political reasons inside the Democrat Party, political squabbling reasons, even for those prosecutions. But it says the average person, there is a double standard that is like the Rock of Gibraltar on one side of the scale and a pebble of sand on the other, weighted against conservatives and Republicans. So conservative Republicans are going to be attacked by the system, whether it's these bogus prosecutions that we're seeing right now against President Trump, whether it's the IRS using Lois Lerner to go after Christian conservative organizations, whether it's selected audits of conservative groups, whether it's lawsuits being filed, whether it's the EPA trying to shut down, some poor company based upon violation of these nutcase greenhouse standards they're doing. The government is weighted against conservatives. On the other hand, you've got the Rock of Gibraltar and you've got a pebble of sand. The liberals go scot-free. So to the average person, you're seeing that there are no balanced scales of justice, number one. The other thing that you're seeing is that us little people don't get the protections that these Democrats get. I mean, Joe Biden himself seems to have acknowledged that Hunter Biden lied on an ATF application to get a handgun.
Mm-hmm.
Not a zilch. Hillary Clinton can bleach bit her computers and hide evidence. But you and I get a subpoena, Donna, and we destroy evidence. Hey, or anybody watching this program does that, the feds are all over you. So there is a double standard in political in the deep state prosecuting conservatives, and there's a double standard protecting big rich Democrats from prosecution that the little people, and when I mean little people, only in a degrading manner, I include myself in there, those of us who aren't uber wealthy, who aren't sipping wine and champagne at champagne parties in Georgetown or on Fifth Avenue, that we don't get the protection that they get. So the average American is seeing an indefensible double standard. And when the justice system, when you lose faith in the justice system because of what the Democrats have done, you've lost faith in the Republic. And so it's a sad day. Today is a sad day, and I hope we can find a way to get it back and get it right, but that's where we are.
I think so too. And you just brought up another great point, because now people are beginning to have the thoughts of, I need to take things into my own hands. Let's say some thug kills your daughter. Okay, and I know who the thug is. I might have a thought, I'm going to go ahead and end him before we go to court and he gets by with it. I might have that thought because I don't have confidence in the court system.
Well, we're seeing some of that already. You know, I think we are going to see more and more of that. I saw, for example, the other day in Texas, Apple has this little a tablet thing that you can put in your car, or you can attach to your keys. I have my keys. I'm always losing my keys. It'd be great for me to have if I had Apple. I don't have Apple. But this guy in Texas had one of these little tablets in his car, and his truck. Somebody stole his truck. The dude went out and found his truck and shot the dude that stole it. Now, no charge has been filed against the guy. But to your point a moment ago, we are liable to see more and more people taking the law. Once the confidence in the judicial system goes down the toilet, it's just what we're seeing now. One of the unfortunate consequences we may see is more and more vigilante justice, just kind of like the law of the Wild West at some point. You know, I was watching Fox and Friends this morning. They were pointing out that in San Francisco, which had been at the heart, of course, of the defund the police movement with these ultra-liberal mayors and prosecutors they've had, that they are now asking the feds to come in and help them arrest drug dealers because they can't manage it. They are 541 police officers short in San Francisco, and it's turning into a vigilante situation there. These most liberal cities, these blue cities, are saying defund the police, do this to the police, do that to the police. You know, you've got to be careful what you're asking for. So you destroy law enforcement and you destroy confidence in the justice system. Mm-hmm. And you wind up at some point with vigilante justice all over the country. And it's not what we want to see. But, hey, we haven't asked for it. The other side has created a political environment that's leading us in that direction.
I think so too. Don, we've got to call it a day. Already 30 minutes gone. Thank you so much for watching The Edge. And thank you, Don, for being on the show with me today. This is awesome. Thank you again for watching. My name is Donna, and I am your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find the podcast. Okay, we look forward to dealing with you any way we possibly can. You have a great, great day, and I'll see you again next time around.